What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here bringing you some more Series 8 Wi-Fi battles with live commentary. Working through the restricteds, we're using Eternatus. Eternatus for me will always have a special place in my heart because I don't know if some of you have seen, I did a Damageless run of Pokemon Sword, and the thing that really freaked me out the most was the fact that there is that Gmax Eternatus in it, and just figuring out, hey, can I beat this? Can I actually take on this behemoth of a task? And knowing that I could, like, it made me want to do it because I figured out this really cool unique solution. And ever since then, like, I've really enjoyed Eternus for that factor, and I use it a lot in game, so it's really cool to see it on a team. And I think this team, on top of really taking advantage of the pressure Eternus can bring, it does some really cool other things. Like, there's a physical Celesteela, which you don't see a lot of, Gastrodon with Expert Belt, which I think can really come in handy with the fact that it can deal with a lot of tricky things, but it can also dish out some damage and recover. Scrafty, also not something you see every day, and can really put in some work, especially with those safety goggles. And finally, Mimikyu with that Life Orb, which is really cool. It gives you that Trick Room option, and it also gives you Shadow Sneak for priority, Phantom Force to deal with some tricky Dynamaxes, and play rough as just a sort of damage output. So I'm really excited for what this team can do, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but this team was created by NyanNyan. I will include their info in the description, and yeah, let's just hop right into the first game. All right, the first battle, and it is a Calyrex team. It is Liepard with Heatran, Porygon 2, Calyrex, Rillaboom, and Tapu Koko. So I'm trying to think. I mean, Scrafty I feel like is very big. Scrafty and Mimikyu I think are two really great options because Mimikyu has Disguise and it can really easily deal with that Calyrex as a result. Scrafty is great because it has the Dark typing um, to resist the attack from Calyrex, and it also puts pressure onto Heatran. Tapu Koko is a little bit scary, but yeah, I mean, it deals with Liepard. It deals with a lot of their team, so I do like Mimikyu with um, Mimikyu with Scrafty lead. Mm, that's tricky. I like. I'm gonna actually do Eternatus. I expect the Tapu Koko lead. I'm gonna bring Scrafty and then one more in the back. I think probably Gastrodon. Gastrodon is tricky because they have Rillaboom, but I think it's worth it because I think it can help with a lot of options on my opponent's team, but it will, I mean, it really depends on what for my opponent chooses to bring because I think that's gonna play a really big part. This Eternatus doesn't have max speed, but it is timid, so Trick Room is actually very much a viable option. And yeah, okay, Tapu Koko and Liepard. I kind of really expected this lead. I think the safest option is to Sludge Bomb into Tapu Koko to try and get rid of it, and then play rough into. Actually, they are very fast. I think actually it might be better to Trick Room with Mim. Yeah, I mean they're so fast. I think Trick Room makes sense, and then Sludge Bomb into Tapu. Mm, yeah, Sludge Bomb is tricky because a switch into Heatran is very obvious, but I still think I can't. Yeah, because once Tapu Koko is gone, Scrafty is in just a much better position. I know they definitely have um, Calyrex in the back, so the question is, what do they bring? If they bring Rillaboom, Gastrodon is in a little bit of a tricky spot, and if they bring Heatran, okay, so it looks like they brought Heatran, right? That's what would make the most sense. And yep, there's Heatran. So this is actually a really tricky position because of the fact that I actually have no good damage into Heatran right now. And I would have to switch out into something else. And now that my disguise is busted, it is a little bit awkward too because of the fact that that means that this Heatran can just get some really super effective damage into my Mimikyu and probably knock it out. But I'm going to actually Shadow Sneak because a lot of what's it called? Lipards carry Copycat. Actually, no, wait, better idea. I'm gonna protect. No, I'm gonna Shadow Sneak into it, and then I'm going to Dynamax Cannon as well, with the idea that I can stop the Copycat Trick Room, which is most important, and I can break a Sash, because that'll trigger it to go for the same thing. I do have Life Orb. Okay, oh wow. So Flash Cannon, they're going straight for an attack. Mimikyu does go down, but I think setting up the Trick Room was most important. And I can pretty freely, I think at this point, bring out Gastrodon, because Gastrodon will stop the Tapu Koko. Oh wow, that did not knock out Lipard. Because of Snarl. Yeah. I think Gastrodon is just such a solid option at this point. It stops the Heatran. I do have Scrafty for um, Calyrex, and I can start getting up special defense boosts. So I think it makes sense to max Gastrodon, and then just max Quake into the Heatran, and then another Dynamax Cannon should be able to finish off Lipard, and then it's the question of... So this is turn number 2 of Trick Room. So yeah, it's the question of if I can force out... If I can get a double knockout, it's great. Because then I can just put enough pressure by being slowest on the field to basically finish out the game. And so I think my opponent trying to not only stall out my Dynamax, but also stall out my Trick Room is very important. But it does really help my position that Gastrodon at this point is just such a big threat, and I'm going to get a ton of special defense boosts with just Max Quake, because they have nothing that resists it, and it's super effective against 2 of their things. Yep, so we are going to see that Protect on Heatran, which does, I think, make the most sense. We're going to Max Quake into it, and, okay, so they have a Shukaberry, which is actually fine, because that, at this point, the damage from Heatran is pretty minimal, and, yeah, even with the Shukaberry and Protect, that did a pretty sizable chunk. And so if we can knock out this Lipard, I think what the better play might be is to honestly switch out Eternatus into Scrafty. And I think that'll put me in a really good position because, I mean, I think it depends on what they bring out. If they bring out Tapu Koko, is it even worth it? I don't think it's worth risking losing Scrafty if I don't have to. Because Scrafty, it is so valuable against Calyrex, but I am also just getting a ton of special defense boosts, and the rest of their team is very special. They do bring out Calyrex now. So, I mean, Gastrodon is slower. I could double up. That is tricky. Yeah, this is turn 2. Foul Play is, I mean, it is really tempting, but Foul Play doesn't do a lot. I think, let's max Quake here, and then, I mean, if they max, now I'm going to switch out into Scrafty. I think getting Scrafty to have the special defense boost from Max Quake is super valuable. We know the Heatran just went for a Protect, so it's most likely not going to go for another one, and even if it does, it doesn't have that Shukaberry anymore. So damage is actually pretty significant, and worst case, like, that Tapu Koko can't really touch Gastrodon. So let's see what they're going to go for. They aren't going to max. They're going to Protect Calyrex, which is totally fine, because that means, yep, it's an easy KO into the Heatran, which means I'm going to be able to get some special defense boosts onto my Scrafty, and then it's the last turn of my Dynamax. So I think Foul Play onto the Calyrex, and that's tempting. I could Hailstorm. Hailstorm is tempting because it can... Oh, this is the last turn of Trick Room. No, I think one of these two definitely has a sash. I think Foul Play into the Calyrex is the right choice. The fear... What are the fears? The fear is... Yeah, its fear is Focus Sash on Calyrex. But, I mean, yeah, you just don't max. But I think if you don't max, you don't have enough damage to deal with Scrafty. So they are going to max, and Calyrex is tricky. I mean, they could have the grass move, Max Overgrow, which I know at least my Calyrex carries it. But I mean, this is a pretty decent position because it does mean Dynamax Cannon is going to just be doing that much more. The problem though is Trick Room is over. Okay, so they're going to protect Tapu Koko, which very good play on their part. But I still do get the special defense boost. So Gastrodon is at +3 special defense. And not Tapu Koko. And Scrafty is at +2. And it's going to get a Foul Play off first. So, I mean, it is a pretty decent position. We're going to see, wow, that Foul Play actually doesn't do that much. And they're going to Mindstorm into Gastrodon. So so that's actually doing nothing. Gastrodon at this point, I think, has built up so much bulk that they don't really have sort of a good option into dealing with Gastrodon. And I think two more Foul Plays will do it. And the fact that they max means they can only single target. So hitting into Tapu Koko and then once again just going for a Foul Play. And so now it's really gonna come down to critical hits. Because they can't do a lot of damage to me outside of them. So okay, so they're gonna drop my defense. 181. Yeah, Gastrodon is just tanking this, and so that's one critical hit I don't have to worry about. I'm guessing Tapu Koko goes for Dazzling Gleam. Yep, Dazzling Gleam. 2 chances to get a critical hit. Looks like there was one. Tapu Koko is what is the word? Is Life Orb, which is good to know. Earth Power should finish it off at this range. And Earth Power does. Great. So now it is Max Calyrex, which means it can only target one of my Pokemon. And I have 2 things into it. So I'm just going to safely Earth Power and Foul Play. And I'm guessing you're going to target down the Scrafty, right? Oh, Max Flutterby. Very interesting. So I'm going to hang on there, which is... I mean, that's super huge, and that's going to drop my special attack. But, like I said, it doesn't matter because I think I still have Eternatus in the back. And, yeah, Scrafty just finishes it off. So, really cool start. I know that Eternatus didn't really do much this game. It did put on a lot of pressure, and it did force some switches that kind of helped me learn about my opponent. But I still think the fact that Scrafty was so big and Gastrodon were so big is really cool as well because... I mean, this is about showing obscure Pokemon in the format, and this really did do that. But we still have a couple more battles, and so let's just hop into the next one and see if we can keep doing cool things with this team. All right, battle number 2, and it is a Kyogre team, an interesting one at that. It is Thundurus Therian, Entei with Kyogre, Mimikyu, Grimmsnarl, and Metagross. This is really tricky. I like Gastrodon. I think Gastrodon against Thunder, against a lot of this team is actually really big. Because it does have Water Absorb, right? Yeah, Storm Drain, that's what I meant. So Gastrodon is huge. The thing I have to worry about is Metagross. I definitely want Eternatus. Celesteela is a little bit tricky because of the fact that they do have Entei and Kyogre, which can go for Fake Out. I think Scrafty, I want to do Rotom Heat. I feel like this is a really situational lead, but it can pay off huge. I think maxing Rotom is the way to go with Eternatus and Gastrodon in the back, right? Yeah, I think that's the way to go. It is a little bit tricky. I think what I'm most afraid of now is I feel like Grimmsnarl is such a good lead on my opponent's end. Grimmsnarl Kyogre is scary, but I do have that easy switch into Gastrodon. Okay, so they're going to lead Metagross. Okay, yep, Metagross Mimikyu makes sense. I think... So I'm guessing it's Mental Herb. Fake Out doesn't really do anything. I could just double up the Metagross. That's honestly not a bad idea. To just max Flare and Foul Play it. What's faster, actually? 78, 116. Oh, these are probably both going to go after Metagross. I think, yeah, Foul Play and max Flare. Because that way... Oh, they're going to withdraw. They're going to send out Kyogre. Okay. I mean, Kyogre is still fairly fast. So I think even with Trick Room, I should still hit first, which is really reassuring. I mean, the fear... What is the fear? The fear is that they don't actually go for Trick Room. They just have Mimikyu Sword Stance, which then I can't really do much about it, because it's a Sword Stance and then it's a free play rough into my Scrafty. Or they're going to just straight up play rough. Scrafty does hang on, which is a really big deal. The Mimikyu is Life Orb, which is also very good to know. I am going to be able to change the sun into rain, but I mean, they can just so easily switch. Yeah, switching into Gastrodon is really hard because Mimikyu does do a fair bit of damage. That is actually a good amount of damage from from Scrafty. Yeah, I think they don't have anything that... Oh, that thing has Volt Absorb, right? Landorus Therian has Volt Absorb. So I think actually the play is to Flare into Kyogre again, expecting the switch to Landorus. But it doesn't look like they're going to switch, which... I mean, not Landorus to Thundurus, which is actually really bad. I was really hoping that they were going to make that switch. But that's... Yeah, I called that wrong. I mean, I guess there's a good reason for them not to bring the Thundurus, because we know 3 of their Pokemon, and the chances... I guess the chances that the fourth one was... what's it called? Was... Thundurus is very slim, and wow, this Mimikyu is just doing a ton of damage. This is actually just... It's not... really not a good position. But, I mean... They did hit into my Storm Drain, which is great. And that means that they can't set up the rain, which is also a big deal. Max Flare not doing much damage, but that's fine. I have to protect against this Mimikyu, and I'm gonna Lightning into Kyogre, and I think I'm gonna have to switch out. This Mimikyu is just giving me way too much trouble. I think I can fodder. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to fodder Scrafty. Oh, Hailstorm. Okay, so they're gonna hit into Gastrodon, which is an interesting choice. It's gonna do very little. This is tricky because this Gastrodon doesn't have any sort of leftover. It doesn't have passive recovery, but we do get the Lightning off. I think swap out. This is just so tough. Oh, that's yep, that makes sense. This Mimikyu is a pain. It is getting passive chip. I think switching into... I think I have to switch... Oh, I am no longer maxed. Thought I had one more turn left. I think... What? I have to swap into Scrafty to basically fodder Scrafty. And then... Thunderbolt into the Kyogre. And then what the plan is then is I think I have to just double up into Mimikyu the next turn, because it's just... I mean, I am getting Intimidates off onto Mimikyu, which hopefully will help. What? Yeah, there's a Drain Punch into... Oh, into Rotom. Interesting. So, getting a little bit of chip. I'm guessing they double up into Rotom? Hailstorm into Scrafty. Nice. So we are going to be able to then KO their Kyogre. And then I think... What is... I wish I knew what Eternatus takes from Fairy. I feel like Eternatus should take neutral from Fairy. I still think Eternatus is the best switch in. Right? Eternatus Fairy is neutral. Yeah, I think... Oh, God, no... Sludge Bomb being neutral into Mimikyu hurts. So they're going to bring... Okay, so... Oh, they have Grimmsnarl. But that lets them set up screens. I think still... I still have to Sludge Bomb into... Yeah, Sludge Bomb into Grim. And then Thunderbolt into Mimikyu. Mimikyu is at -2. And now I can start really... Hopefully chipping away at it. I think... Depending on how this turn goes, it might make sense to Nasty Plot the following turn. They're going to withdraw Mimikyu, and that means Metagross has to take a Thunderbolt, which, I mean, it's chip damage, and given the fact that I need... Oh, ooh. Whoa, that's no fun. Yeah, Thunderwave has caused so many problems in our videos before, but Metagross takes a ton of residual. Yeah, it's a crit. I mean, I'll take it. And then Sludge Bomb still connects, and Sludge Bomb takes the Grimmsnarl down to its Focus Sash, but that means it's going to go down to Weather, which is great. Oh, and it's Poison, just for good measure. So that means that Metagross can go down. Metagross goes down, and then I have to beat out this Mimikyu with a paralyzed Eternatus and a slightly damaged Rotom. Actually, that Metagross is probably going to go first. Yeah, Eternatus is... I think I have the Sludge Bomb and then Thunderbolt the Metagross. Yeah, and then... Yeah, this just... I really need to not get paralyzed this turn. It is going to Ice Punch. That's going to hurt. 224 down to 94. Play rough. This is going to pick up the knockout. I will get the knockout in return onto their Metagross. Onto their Metagross. And so what? We know Mimikyu has Play Rough. It has Play Rough, Drain Punch. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, it's just taking a ton of recoil from Hail. Oh, I have Gastrodon. I totally forgot about this little slug thing. I think protect Gastrodon this turn and Thunderbolt into Mimikyu to break its disguise. And that'll get some serious chip. I kind of expect them to Drain Punch into Gastrodon. They are going to Drain Punch. Oh, they're going to Drain Punch into Rotom. It's going to do 40 damage. Yeah, that was a good read. It does trigger my Citrus Berry, so it does 40, which means that after... Let's see how much I have after this, after the hail damage. But that, I mean, the disguise breaking means it's going to take some recoil. I think I just have to... Oh, cool. So That's gone. So that means Rotom can take at least two more Drain Punches. And I think just, yeah, go for Earth Power, go for Thunderbolt. I think the combination of the two should be enough to hopefully finish it off. Gastrodon lives, which means that it can put in some work. Yeah, that thing has so much HP. Thunderbolt into it goes down to a fairly decent chunk, and it's paralyzed, which is really great because that means I now move first. And I think that, I mean, like, if this doesn't finish it off, yeah, I was gonna say if it didn't, that paralysis would definitely seal up the game. So cool. I mean, this team is great. I really love it. I think it's showing off some cool Pokemon. Not Eternatus as much as I would like. I think it's a little bit hard because Eternatus can't max, but I mean, it lets other things shine. And sometimes, while it's great to have your restricted be like the main center of your team, sometimes it's great for it to serve a cool supporting role where it can pressure a good amount of damage, but also give other things a chance to kind of serve that max role. So let's just like kind of hop into the next one, depending on how long it goes. We might do two more, but let's just do game 3 for now, and I will see all of you there. All right, game number 3, and this one is interesting. It is another Rotom Heat with Calyrex. There is a Regieleki, Tyranitar, Metagross, and Articuno. So this is tricky for a lot of reasons. Obviously, Calyrex Ice does really well into Eternatus, which makes this really tricky. A lot of this team actually does. Rotom Heat is definitely going to be incredibly valuable. So is Gastrodon, once again. I like Mimikyu as well. I think, yeah, Mimikyu having the option of disappearing and tanking some of that damage is huge. Obviously, Gastrodon is really big into a lot of this team. Probably Mimikyu, Gastrodon with Eternatus and Rotom. Yeah, I mean, it's a pity that we don't really... I like Scrafty. Scrafty is... I'm going to go with Scrafty, actually. I think the Fake Out pressure is... The Fake Out, Intimidate, Drain Punch, and Foul Play, I think just it makes it a really good option. I think there actually was a really good argument to be made to lead with Scrafty over having it in the back. Okay, so they're going to lead Regieleki and Metagross versus Gastrodon and Mimikyu. I think could Phantom Force. I'm tempted to Phantom Force the Metagross. Right? I could Phantom Force the Metagross and then Earth Power into the Regieleki. Because there's not much... Yeah, I think that's the best option. There's not much that Metagross can really do into Gastrodon. Because yeah, most of its red moves don't really do much. Ice doesn't do much. Steel doesn't do much. So I am pretty comfortable going for that. It is a very early lead max. Okay, so they're also going to max. They're going to max with Metagross, but this is fine because I don't have to really worry about... Oh, this is actually tricky because they have a Lecky to break Disguise. So what they could do is they could single target into Mimikyu to guarantee and not risk the Electro Web because they don't have a reason to, and then Steel Spike into it. That actually makes sense. And I think, yeah, I didn't actually consider that option, and I can't lower their defenses. And now the main issue is Metagross also typically carries Max Hailstorm. Oh, and so they're going to protect into a Lecky, which is really smart. Oh, wow, I am faster. So that's actually really good to know. their Metagross is very slow. They do max Quake into Gastrodon, which is also very good to know. Because, I am worried about triggering a weakness policy. And the fact that, yeah, I'm hitting with them with a super effective attack. That is, wow. Gastrodon does over half to protected Regieleki. I think the play, though, is... I mean, I am triggering a weakness policy. They could actually max guard with Metagross. But that would... I mean, that would deny them a policy? Yeah, do I read? Yeah, I mean, Gastrodon didn't even take that much. I think I have to double into Metagross. Yeah, okay, so they most likely are policy. So I expect, let's see how much this does. God Mimikyu, I hate you. Here comes the policy. Oh, no policy. Wow, interesting. So they are not in... Wow, I really did not expect this. I mean, granted, Mimikyu's not really doing much, but... Wow. So, what item could they beat? So this is interesting. I think... I really wish this Mimikyu had... what's it called? Will-O-Wisp. I think... No. Phantom Force here, and... I could max guard. That's tempting, because then if I max guard, my thought process is it lets me get a recover, and Regieleki's not really doing much. So if I can get back to full... Because, okay, so we know the Aleki is screens, so it's most likely going for light screen this turn, and I think the thing I care about more is Gastrodon being alive. Because I can basically stall through both of their Pokemon fairly effectively. Oh, they're going to Thunder Cage. Interesting. So Mimikyu can't escape. And that's going to... Oh, wow. That breaks my disguise. But that does mean that... Okay, oh, wow. Regieleki is Life Orb. It screens Orb. That's actually really fascinating. So that definitely means that it can't... what's it called? It cannot hit my Gastrodon, which means I think I can safely recover this turn. And even though I feel like I didn't do a ton of damage with my max, I think it still puts me in a really good position because it does let me get a pretty free recover with Gastrodon. And now it's like 2 of their Pokemon have lost a ton of health, where granted they do have a screen up, and my Mimikyu is slowly getting chipped away at, but like this isn't a bad position. They're gonna light screen, and I can honestly freely recover. Actually that's really good, because now I freely recover back to full. The scary thing though is what's it called? Their Calyrex now can kind of freely come out, but even still, Scrafty... I mean, I can't switch out Mimikyu. Very smart. But I am faster than Calyrex, so I still have the option. Yeah, here comes Calyrex. I still can basically play around the fact that I can't switch out by just disappearing for a turn. And Gastrodon's at full. Yeah, I can't switch it out, right? Oh, I can. I'm trying to think if that's a better play. No, I mean, it's faster, so I think I would much rather Phantom Force into Calyrex and then swap out Gastrodon into Scrafty. And then I can theoretically just fake out... I can go for fake out... what's it called? Fake out Phantom Force. What I am afraid of, though... Oh, no, I can... this is actually really tricky. Because... Yeah, I mean, I have foul play. Oh, and they seed bomb. Really interesting. So if Scrafty lives, which, yep, it does. The fear. The fear is, do I live an attack from Regieleki? What is this thing's speed investment? Scrafty has. I'm gonna just switch out to Eternatus. Yeah, I think it'll be some mind games because I expect them to probably. I don't know if they'll see. Oh, they. I feel like the Glacial Lance is really obvious. Oh, they're gonna withdraw Calyrex. Okay, and they're gonna bring out Tyranitar. Okay. Tyranitar comes out. I definitely need to switch out Mimikyu this next turn. They're gonna Thunder Cage once again into Calyrex. I mean not Calyrex, into Eternatus, and that does a significant chunk. That is wow. That's actually a solid piece of damage onto Tyranitar. What does a Thunder Cage do? It's just doing so much chip. Thunder Cage for 2 to 5 for 4 to 5 turns. Yeah, I'm taking a ton of damage off of this Thunder Cage. Mimikyu might faint this turn. Mimikyu has 1 turn left. I think I can safely go for this and Flamethrower into Regieleki. My fear, I just need to knock out one of their Pokemon. And neither of them has... I mean, they could... What? They Electroweb. They hit both targets. They knock out Mimikyu. Yeah, because the fear for sure... Okay, so they're going to protect Regieleki. That's fine. The fear is that they knock out both of my Pokemon at once, so I don't get the Intimidate onto Calyrex when it comes in. But Tyranitar has the weakness policy. Very good to know. Let's see where it's going to. This actually could be a double knockout. Yeah, it's gonna. So they're gonna knock out. They're gonna get the double knockout. But I can freely. No, I think. What is Mimikyu's speed? Mimikyu is definitely the fastest thing on this team. 116. This is hard. Fake out into... I have to... I could just actually... No, why don't I fake out Tyranitar? Fake out Tyranitar and then... Oh, it's so low. Fake out Tyranitar, Earth Power, Regieleki. Scrafty is probably going to take an Electric Cage. That's fine. That's totally fine. Fake out into it. Yep, they're gonna Electric Cage into Scrafty. I hope that it misses Thunder Cage. Thunder Cage connects. Let's see how much this does. Scrafty takes... Oh, that's probably game. Because unless... I mean, I'd have to live from the Thunder Cage, but I do have safety goggles. So let's see how much... They don't have the light screen. I don't think it matters. Oh, do I not take Thunder Cage recoil? That changes things. That changes things significantly. I think foul play here, and then Earth Power into Tyranitar. So now it's just a question of speed, because this team is very slow. They're going to protect. I should have protected as well, because Tyranitar is going to knock out my Scrafty. Yeah, God, imagine if I had protected and like played that semi-correct. Yeah, and that Calyrex has Seed Bomb, so there's no there's no way that I can win this. Gastrodon is too slow, and even if it's zero speed, even zero speed Calyrex isn't going to be slower than Gastrodon. The protect was very obvious, and I should if I had protected with, let me think. Yeah, if I had protected with Scrafty, and then knocked out Tyranitar with Gastrodon, I could have foul played the next turn into Calyrex. Which, I mean, it's a pity, but that's just the way the game goes. I think we really got to show off this team, and even if the biggest focus wasn't Eternatus, I think it still really did highlight a different style of play, and I'm really excited that I got the chance to use out Eternatus, especially given the fact that my first video on the channel in some regard is based around it. But we still have we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more serious restricteds to try out. So I'm expecting to hopefully get through all of them by the end of the month, and then start kind of transitioning back to Series 9. So I will see all of you later, and I hope until then all of you stay wonderful.